Welcome back to the 90 Point Podcast. Today we have Hootchy Brewer. So tell us a bit about yourself.
A bit about me.
Yeah.
Where do you want me to start? Really?
No, I don't care.
Well, I am a bullfighter. We can start with that. I grew up in a semi-rodeo family. A couple of my sisters rodeoed, and uh, they just started throwing me on sheep and calves, and worked my way up to the bull riding, and spent 8 to 10 years. I'm not sure exactly of chasing the bull riding. Then one day, just decided I was going to go try to fight them, and I ain't been on one in 3 years now, I think. So I'll just kind of full circle moment, started riding bulls and moved on to now fighting them. So
Yeah.
It's been good.
Will you ever get on a bull again?
I should. I should. I could have been world champ probably.
Yeah.
No. I wanted to. I actually watched my videos the other day, sitting with my girlfriend at home. We were sitting there. I'm like, man, I could probably still do it. But
yeah.
And then I go to the bull riding and I see them in the buck and shoot and how big they are, and I'm like, maybe not. So we'll see. Maybe. I haven't fully retired yet, so who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it'd be more scary to fight them than ride them.
Oh no.
Yeah.
At least you can see what's happening in the arena. You know what I mean? When you're up there and you hit the ground, you don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got a head start. I can see right where they're going, man.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
All right, you've done a lot of different things in rodeo. Have you done like any other things in bull riding or bullfighting? I guess.
In rodeo?
Like events, yeah.
Oh yeah. When I was, when you're younger, you kind of do a little bit of everything, and breakaway, pole bending, barrel racing, all the things. But what I really enjoyed was the team rope and the heeling. Yeah. I heeled all through high school and was fairly successful at it, but not enough that I wanted to pursue it because it is tough to do, and you got to have a lot of nice horses and stuff. But I heeled, and if I could pick anything in rodeo to do, I'd probably pick the bareback riding. To be honest, if I could be good at just one thing, it might not even be bullfighting. Like it'd be bareback riding, because I don't think there's anything cooler than a good bareback ride. But it don't look fun. Yeah, so I've never really thought about doing it.
How did you get started in rodeo?
I guess I kind of breezed through that one earlier, huh? Gosh dang. It's kind of wild because I'm the youngest of 12. So I have 11 siblings, and only 2 of them decided that they wanted to rodeo. They both ran barrels and roped calves and were rodeo queens later in their career, and I just would never want to stay home. I always wanted to get in the trailer and go rodeo with my sisters and my mom, and my dad really wasn't he was more of the farming type. He really wasn't the rodeo type, and so it's just my mom, my sisters, and I out there on the road trying to figure it out, But my sisters really pushed it on me. They really thought that I had something, I could be good at something. They didn't quite know what it was. I'm probably 100% sure that 0 people told me I was going to be a bull rider. Yeah, I'm 6'1". It probably wasn't the best route, but it worked out for the best because now I can fight bulls. So, I don't know. It just kind of was. I always had it. I always wanted to do something in rodeo because it was around me, something I grew up doing, and it just never. That feeling of wanting to be there never left, and I hope it never does.
Yeah. All right. How long have you been fighting bulls?
Oh man. 3. I think this is my 3rd year. So I had done a couple of just open bull ridings and stuff in, just spread out throughout the years. But then I got on my last bull in December of 2022. Yeah, 2022. Got on my last bull. I'd already kind of fought a couple rodeos that fall. And then that winter, I kind of started just saying, I need to take a break from bull riding. I kind of jumped off my last one, took the easy way out, and I'm like, I don't want to get on another one until I feel like I'm not going to do that. Well, apparently, I still feel like I'm going to do that because I haven't been on another one since. So I've been fighting bulls for going on 3 years now. Yeah.
Doing pretty good for
Thanks,
3 years.
man.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first rodeo, and could you tell us a little bit about it, fighting bulls?
Um, yeah, yeah, I do. My first actual rodeo. Maybe I'm gonna make a liar out of myself by just saying that. I'm not sure exactly what was my first, but I remember my first. Can I give you like my first big one?
Yeah.
I remember the first big rodeo that I had, big bull riding, was the Stetson Wright Invitational in 2023. I'd been to some rodeos like the Intermountain Icebreaker here in Utah. Been to some of the RMPRA rodeos, amateur rodeos, and that was the first big one that I went to. That I'm like, man, there's some guys here in the top 15. These bulls are the real deal. Kind of second guessing myself, and that's how I knew that it was an event that it meant something to me, because I started to really look at all the things going on. I started looking at guys, looking at the bulls, and just the fear of like not being able to do your job starts to creep in a little bit. And so that was like the first big one that I was like, man, I love this. Like, I love that feeling of like the adrenaline and the excitement of that. And it was really cool. Like, it was a cool experience, and I was definitely nervous, but you know, did my thing and it worked out good. But that was the first one that I remember. I was like, oh man, like, we're here. Like, we're really doing this.
Yeah. What hobbies or jobs do you do, like outside of rodeo?
Fly fishing, baby. Fly fisherman at heart. Started a guide service a few years ago because I love it so much. I I really enjoy the transition between like my Saturday to Sunday. It's like a Saturday night, the lights are on, the crowd's in the stands, and we're bucking bulls, and it's loud and it's rough, and then literally in the blink of an eye, like one sleep later, I'm up and I'm clear up in the mountain. My cell phone's off. I can relax. I can listen to the sound of the water and catch fish and just enjoy some peace and quiet. Let my body recover mentally, physically, the whole thing. Fly fishing for sure is my thing, but I can hoop. I'll call Jared, blow him out right now. I'll cross him up any day. I'll make sure he listens to that too, because he does not think I can. But I will. I will. Yeah, I like to play basketball, go to the gym every day, all the things. But just one thing in particular, I fly fisherman through and through.
Yeah.
What are some of your goals for bullfighting?
I think I've been thinking about this actually. That's a great question, McRae. I don't know if there's a specific title that would genuinely make me happy, besides once I am done, whenever that may be, when I get to the end, I know that I did the best that I could. And that may look different for me as it would for somebody else, as far as like certain titles that you can get. I think if I get to the end of my career and I don't have any regrets or look back and think that I could have done something more, I think that's my goal. Everything else in between is just a bonus. And I feel like we're blessed that we get to play this game and we get to be involved in this great sport of rodeo. I think that every day that we get a chance to go to the next one is really cool. So I try not to look too far past those moments as far as like the titles themselves. But I think once I get to the end and know I worked hard enough and showed up every day, that I'd done what I was supposed to do. I think that's my goal for sure with bullfighting, really life in general, just to look back and know that you did everything that you could with what you had. So yeah, man.
It's pretty cool. All right. Can you tell us, for like some of the viewers that maybe don't know, like what the job of a bullfighter is, and what are the basics and stuff? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Cowboy protection is what is really like my specialty. There's different kinds of styles of bullfighting. So you have freestyle bullfighting, which is usually with a Mexican fighting bull. You have one versus one, man versus beast. You do as many tricks and make as many rounds as you can within a minute, and there's a judge that'll score the animal of how aggressive they were during the fight, and then how how good the cowboy was able to maneuver around the bull and to do his tricks and whatnot. And then there's cowboy protection, which is what I've focused my whole career on, and that's saving cowboys. So if a guy gets bucked off and let's say he gets knocked out or he's a little slow getting up, our job is to, in lack of a better term, distract the bull, to get his attention, make sure he's got his focus on us so that the cowboy can get up and go to safety. Or if there's the cowboy's not getting up, maybe he's hurt or something happened, then our job is to get that bull's attention and take him away from the rider so that he can be taken care of and let the show roll on, and give him the best chance to be okay and not let that bull go back and do more harm that's already been done.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes it doesn't always work out how you want it, but that's intentionally the goal for us, is to just make sure we have hands on that bull, every single one that bucks, no matter what happens. Get in there and get your hands on them and keep their attention so that the cowboy can be safe. And also, what a lot of people don't know is, like, during the performance, if you keep that bull a little bit closer to the outgate, kind of helps their performance roll along. It helps the energy of the bulls and the guys. And if bullfighters are in there and getting hands on them, keeping them close to the outgate, usually there's a lot more bull rides that night. And I've kind of noticed that throughout the years. It's kind of interesting how the energy will change if it's moving faster. And so in turn, our job is just save cowboys. So.
Yeah.
What do you do to stay in shape for bullfighting, and what do you do before you do?
Man, a couple years ago, I got my personal training certification, and this is before I started fighting bulls or anything. I just wanted to have it and learn how to be healthy. But then the athleticism part of working out kind of started to draw my attention, as far as like me trying to change a career path of the bull rider to bullfighter. I go to the gym every day. It's not really like a if I feel like it thing. It's a every day. Even days that I have went to a rodeo, if I get home in time, go to the gym, recover, get your body in the right headspace. Because if you know that you've done the work and you were there, and your brain remembers all the moves you made and everything, the work that you put in, when you get to the rodeo, it should be fun. You shouldn't have to worry about what happened during the week. If maybe I shouldn't have ate that cookie, or maybe I shouldn't have did this. It's like if you put all the chips in during the week, when you get to the rodeo, it just should be fun. I mean, your brain knows what's going to happen. You just react. So I just try to stay in the gym. I have my routine that I've kind of mended for injuries that I've had and things that I've learned in my life. I've just kind of based a routine off of how I feel, and I'll figure out a way to push myself a little bit every single day just to get a little bit better. One drop in a bucket doesn't fill it up, but over time it will. And that's kind of the way I look at it, is every day is just a drop in a bucket for me, for where I want to be in my career. So it's just that little extra work that I do every day to try to get a little bit better. So I've implemented the gym, and you got to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If it's whether you're on the bull or you're in the arena, you usually have a partner fighting bulls, or even two partners. You have to believe in yourself, and if you don't believe in yourself, your teammates aren't going to believe in you, and that doesn't do good for the whole system. Everybody's got to be on the same page, and I think a big part of it is just believing in yourself that you can do it, and the rest kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah. What is one of the wildest things you ever seen happen at a rodeo?
Inside the arena or outside the? I'm joking. I'll say, man, I've seen some pretty bad wrecks. I've seen some guys get really hurt and on just some freak deals, like things that just lined up bad. But 2 years ago in Montpelier, Idaho, I seen, for the first time in my life, I seen a guy get his spur caught in a bull flank.
Mm-hmm.
And so that leaves him with his leg in the air and his rest of his body on the ground, right underneath those back feet. And I go jump on top of him. There's really kind of a system of trying to get those out, but at some point it's just preservation. You got to just try to make sure they don't get stepped on again or anything like that. And this bull drug us from one side of the buck and shoots in the first shoot all the way to the other side of the arena before he come out, and I was on him the whole way. And that was pretty wild. I've seen some stuff, but that one was wild because it was just the weirdest thing of how the way he came off. It was like by an inch that he caught that spur in that rope or in the flank. So it was pretty entertaining, but not for him and really not for us. It was mainly entertaining for everybody else that got to watch it. So
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite rodeo story?
oh man, you guys are digging deep here. I don't know. There's a lot of them. One that I think about, I don't know, pretty often for me. The Intermountain Icebreaker in 2022 is my first year I fought that. I had a bull step on my head in the second round of the rodeo, and I want to say there's 5 including the short round, or 4 maybe. However, this bull stepped on my head, and they had to haul me off in the ambulance, and everybody thought that I was done for, and the whole deal, and it ended up being I was okay. I went back the next day, and I don't know if we'll ever see this, but I'm gonna give him a shout out if that's okay. But there's a pickup man. His name's Chase Heiner, and my head was all swollen, and I had scrapes on all my whole face, and I did not look good at all. And he rode up he was at the back end of the arena and rode up to the buck and shoots because we were about to start in that first section of bulls. He rode up to me and he just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, kind of looking at him like, what? I'm like, I'm fine. I got this. And he just looked at me and he said, are you tough? And I kind of was like, what you mean? Am I tough? I'm like, I'm the toughest guy here, And I didn't, and in my head, I know he didn't mean it that way, but in my head, that's how I took it, is like him asking me, like, are you kind of a wimp, or like, are you tough? Like, can you do this? And I never said anything to him. I just nodded at him. But to this day, he's never heard that. That one comment alone is probably the difference between me going back to the bull riding and me being in my career right now. And I've never told him that. Maybe it's time I do, but that is something I think about on a monthly basis, of him asking me that, because that was my worst injury I've had, and it was at the very start of my career. And had he not said that, there's no telling what would have happened, because I was feeling pretty worse for wear. And he just kind of brought me outside of my feelings of me feeling bad for myself, and brought me back into that zone of like, I'm here to do my job. And it was a pretty cool moment for me. And to him, he probably really didn't mean all that much by it, but it meant a lot to me.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, man. Pretty wild.
Yeah. What is your favorite rodeo that you've been able to fight bulls at?
Oh, shoot. Man, there's been quite a few. My favorite one that is like off the map, like all the big ones are cool, right? We can all agree on that. Yeah. But Lake Town, Utah, up by Bear Lake and Garden City up there, it's all the way up in the mountain, tiny little arena. But they've got these big wood grandstands up there, and there's like no parking. Like the pens that the bulls and horses are in are like 4.5 feet tall. They get out every year. Like, it's just a mess. But the view from the buck and shoots, you can see back over the grandstands, and you can see the lake, you can see the rolling hills, and it rains every year up there. And so by the time the first section comes along, the 2 years I've been there, the sun comes back out. And so the whole valley is like all green. You can see the lake, and it's just like a cool landscape to be up there in the mountain, and the air is kind of chilly. Bulls buck hard. Like, it's a cool spot. Yeah. So I'd say that's been my most favorite. Besides all the big ones, that's my most favorite rodeo that I've been to.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about like your guys' podcast that you do?
Oh, shooting the you know what? Yeah, Bodie Burr and I, my childhood best friend, we've grown up together since we were a year old. We started that podcast last year sometime just to get stories out there so that we can look back on them. We're honestly terrible at it. Like, you guys are professional. Like, you guys are good. We are so bad. Like, we need to take some notes on what you guys do because we suck. But it's just fun to BS about all the times that we had and things that happened on the road because we'll talk about it for a day, but then the stories start to fade away. You don't really hear them again about something funny that happened or anything. So that was kind of our mindset after.
It's fun to
when we
listen
started.
to you just talk though. So
Is it really?
Yeah.
You do okay?
Yeah.
You should be honest right now while we're live. You can tell me it sucks if it does.
no, I just like listening to those stories and all that. It's
Okay,
pretty
good.
cool.
Yeah, there's just random stuff that we will kind of go. I mean, I got on a soapbox the other day about people working out in the sauna. I hate that. Drives me nuts. I'm not afraid to tell them. I think they should ban it from all gyms. Well, we won't start with that because I'll go all night on that.
All right. Who's someone in pro rodeo that you look up to? Kind
For my first one was J.W. Harris. World champion bull rider, in my opinion, one of the best to ever do it. He was kind of my size style, and just the way he handled himself. He had charisma and he had class and style, and he just was like a guy that you just wanted to be. And that's going to segue right into what I think, a guy that transcended the sport of bullfighting, and has to be Cody Webster. I don't think that there's a single bullfighter out there that doesn't aspire to be like Webb in some way. He's changed the game on everything. Everybody's style is starting to be like his. Everybody's swag starting to be like his. Like everybody is chasing that image and his mindset. It's changed a lot. There's certain guys that they have a mindset that's more of I'm a bullfighter and this is what I do, and I'm the they're very singular in the way that we talk, but he is shared knowledge throughout the entire world of what it means to be a bullfighter and not just to fight bulls, but what it actually means. I think there's a lot to be said about that, the type of person he is. I've never met him, but just from what I've been noticing and what he's done for the sport, I think is incredible, and I don't think there's been another guy like him. So, in my opinion, that's the guy I think that has, he's might be the greatest, that there's ever been. He is really a true role model in every way that you can say. So, yeah. Shout out Webb. I mean, everybody wants to be like Webb.
Yeah.
How do you like practice for bullfighting?
I don't really know if there is much practice. Like, you mean like at like bullbucking like practice or like drills?
Just all of it, I guess.
How do I feel about it?
Yeah, sure.
Man, yeah. I mean, I dig it. Like that's where you learn how to trust yourself. You learn how to trust the steps that you take and the way that your body moves. You learn how to trust it. And without that, you get in the arena with them, you don't have time to wonder if it's okay or not. It's just got to happen. So, like, even when we go, right down the road where we just got done with practice a little bit ago, there's not very, I mean, there's one that's maybe mean sometimes. I still try to pretend like this one is super mean. So I need to get to my spot of where I need to be or where I would be if he was mean or nice. It doesn't matter. I try to get to my spot regardless, even if he stands there and looks at me, at least I was there. So in my mind, like even when I'm at practice, like it's a live rep for me. Because if I can duplicate it from there to the rodeo, of getting to my spot, then, we're all good. But to be honest, I don't really do that much like footwork stuff. Like I've kind of had that just from wrestling and everything. Like I've my feet move pretty fast, and from the gym I'm staying pretty athletic. So I'd say in this point in my career, like the more live cattle for me, the better. Like that's where I try to go to get my practice in. But even when I'm at practice, it's kind of more of like a live rep of like we're at practice, but the job hasn't changed. We're still here to save guys and do our job. And then, sometimes you get paid a lot, sometimes you don't get paid at all, sometimes you get paid a little. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that you can't go without it. You got to keep it on your brain, keep it on your mind at all times.
The best way to get better is just kind of doing it sometimes,
I agree. Like JB Mooney says, is like if the best way to figure out how to be a great bull rider is to ride bulls. Get on bulls, and that's kind of what I took into that one comment. Is kind of what I took into fighting bulls. I'm like, if I can see as many situations as possible, nothing's really going to be a surprise to me. If I've seen it before, if it happens at a rodeo or if it happens somewhere else, I'm like, I've seen that before. I know how to fix this, and then it'll just be second nature. But I don't really think you can get that from like you. I mean, I'm not saying like don't watch film or don't do drills or anything like that, but like live reps really is kind of the best way to really figure it out. You can watch it, but you don't really know how it feels until you go experience it.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. There's other ways of doing things that guys have won world championships doing. So that's just my opinion personally.
Yeah. Do you ever do like visualization or anything like that?
100%. You can ask my girlfriend how much that I'll talk about that of like, hey, this, like, if it's such like, did you see that? I'll ask her like, did you see that at the rodeo the other day when I did this? And I'll just sit and think about it. So I'm like, that was exactly what I had drawn up in my head. But like things like that. But when I'm at the gym, every single rep is a footstep for me. Like when I am going around a corner, I'm going through a gap, or I'm, headed towards a shoulder on a hang up. Like every rep I'm doing, I'm thinking about how I would go through that, how I would process it, and how I would allow myself to flow and just do. Instead of thinking about doing, like just flow and just do. Because I don't want to, miss a step or, get things twisted up. It's just kind of been something that I wish I would have done it more on the bull riding, because maybe I would have stayed on something every once in a while and paid some bills, but I had to work for that. But I've been able to kind of slow down as far as in the bullfighting and just think about how I've done this. I know what I'm doing, and I don't want to tell myself I can't. So just trying to tell myself when I'm at the gym, every rep, I'm like, you've done this, it worked, it's great. Like you can do this, just like we talked about earlier, like you got to believe in yourself. And I think visualization of you seeing it and knowing you can do it, if you've done it before, you haven't, but you seeing it in your head, knowing you can do it is huge. Because at the end of the day, no motivational video, no pep talk, nothing's going to do your job for you but you. And so if you can believe in it and see it, it will happen for you. In my, I believe that.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get into bullfighting, and like, what did you learn almost?
I kind of got thrown to the wolves about it, to be honest. When we were all grown up riding bulls, there wasn't, and there still isn't, a ton of guys that will just come fight bulls at practice for you for free. And we were young, we didn't have no money, so we thought, well, we can at least throw our hat or our vest or something and distract them long enough to get up and run away. That's how we had to do it back in them days, as I'm talking like 10 years ago. It's not that long. But we would just step out there for each other and try our best. And then when you're a bull rider, you kind of can feel where you're going to land, when you're getting slammed or whether you're getting ready to dismount after a good ride. You can kind of feel what's going on. Well, since I had been on them for so long, when I got down to the dirt, I kind of had already, like, would know what's about to happen. I'm like, well, I see his feet are bouncing and that bull's kind of pushing back a little bit away from him. He's probably going to go over to that front shoulder, and now it's time to kind of start moving. Just situations like that. I went to a Dusty Tuckness bullfighting school last November. It was the first school I've been to throughout the years, so learned a lot, and it's been great, but just literally live reps. That's what got me, my start in my career, and has got me all the rodeos I have so far. It's basically just been through trial and error. Go in there, do something wrong, get hooked. Go in there, do the right thing next time, and don't get hooked, type of thing. So yeah, just trial and error really for me.
Yeah. All right. So we know that my predictions last year for the NFR were not very good. So what's
It was
kind of
terrible.
what's kind of what's your predictions this year for it?
For the world title?
Yep.
It's hard to bet against that Wasey Schaller right now.
Yeah.
I mean, number one in the world, and he has been whooping on some stuff. But I mean, 8-time world champion Stetson right behind him.
Yeah.
Tristan Hutchings has some of the best riding percentages this year that's ever been. I'm pretty sure he's been riding everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was a betting man, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be between Stetson and Wasey at the end of the year. I don't know, maybe Kyle jump up there with him, but I think those two they've been neck and neck at every rodeo they've been to, that they're drawn up the same time or whatever. They've been right there 1 and 2. So
yeah,
I would say that, and I'm gonna throw Hayes Waite, our boy Hayes Waite from right here down the road, in the mix, because I think that he's got one in his future. If he draws the right bulls and rides the right ones, falls off the right ones, then who knows? I think he's got one. He's been dang close. So, I hope he gets one. But, this year, the way things are shaping out, I think Wasey and Stetson are going to have a pretty good battle there till the end.
Yeah, it's a pretty good prediction.
Well, yours, guy. You can't just give me mine. What are yours? We got to write this down.
Well, I'd probably say Stetson or Wasey.
Okay,
I'm just gonna trust you because, mine was just terrible last year.
Well, mine didn't go very good either.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm probably gonna go Stetson and Tristan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Okay.
What's the best advice that you've been given for rodeo and that you could get?
Your past is in your head, and your future's in your hands. That's how that's supposed to go. Don't know who quoted that, but I've thought about that, because as soon as you hit the ground, if you got bucked off, there's nothing you can do about that bull you just got on. There's nothing. You can think about what you did wrong and all that stuff, but you literally can't get it back. So you can be mad for a second, because who doesn't like to win? But you have to let it go. There's nothing you can do about it, and the only thing you can do is prepare yourself for that situation in the future, and to try to get better. So I would say that the past is in your head and the future is in your hands, to try your best to do good, each time, because one day there's going to be a last one, and none of us really know when it is, but just trying to do your best until that last one comes. And if you keep doing that, I feel like it gets you a lot further than constantly trying to pick yourself apart about what you're doing wrong, instead of maybe thinking about every once in a while some of the stuff you do right.
Yeah. All right. Have you competed in any freestyle bullfighting events?
No, they're scary.
Yeah.
I like to think that, I mean, I've freestyled like bucking bulls and calves and stuff like that, but they're kicking. Like, they're still kind of bucking a little bit. Like, I fought some without some flanks that may mimic a fighting bull, but I've never fought a full-blooded Mexican fighting bull, and I'm not sure when that's going to be. I know that there's one in my future here pretty soon, and I'm going to have to be ready for that. But I think that I can, I think I can get around one pretty good, but I won't know until... Okay, pause. I did freestyle one, but I think he's half Mexican. It's Chad Casperson has one that they call him El Toro, and he is a Mexican fighting bull, but I think he's half. I did freestyle him, and I did break him down, and he's a mini bull, but it still counts. I still did it. Yeah, it was fun. It's a good time.
Right. Well, we're gonna take a break for a minute, but we're back. Make sure to check out these cowboy fidget spinner ropes on my website that I make. Got lots of different colors and stuff. So, and then if you're looking for rodeo gear, Go to Rodeo Mart and use my code AutoSRM10 for 10% off.
And go make sure to check out our new rosin that we're starting to make.
Yeah, welcome back. We're gonna start out doing a this or that now. So
Yep. So ride horses or go hunting?
Oh, ride horses. Easy.
Country music or rock and roll?
Ooh, rock and roll, man. Rock and roll.
yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good choice.
Would you rather lift weights or go on a run?
Lift weights for sure.
Hamburger or tacos?
Dang, guys. Oh, those are my two favorites. Hamburgers.
M&M's or Skittles?
Skittles.
Mountain or beach?
I've never been to actual beach or the ocean in my life.
Me neither.
I would love to go. It's been on the plans, so I'm probably gonna have to say the mountains. I've never been to the beach,
Yeah.
and I don't really. I mean, sand in my socks is not that great, so maybe we're gonna have to go with the mountains for sure.
Freestyle bullfighting or cowboy lifesaver?
Cowboy lifesaver.
Would you rather text someone or call them?
Call. My phone is busy when I'm driving and I'm bored. Everybody in my contacts gets a phone call. I will be calling you to see just what you're doing. I'm like, I ain't texting nobody. I'm gonna call.
PBR or PRCA?
Oh man, to be honest, like back in the days of like when I was coming up and when I was a kid, the PBR had some of the greatest moments. You know, I thought were the greatest moments because it was happening in my time. But you know, I'm glad with kind of what they're doing with the teams and everything. But I'm just a rodeo fan. I learned that pretty recently actually. I'm just a rodeo fan. So PRCA.
All right, now we're gonna do some rapid fire questions.
Right.
So, who's your favorite Utah PRCA cowboy?
Bodie Burr, my best friend.
All right, what's your favorite movie?
A river runs through it. Fly fishing movie. It's great.
Your favorite place to eat?
Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah.
What is a song that gets you pumped up to rodeo?
Him All Along by Gunna. It's brand new.
All right, who's your celebrity crush?
Drew Barrymore. Yeah, Drew Barrymore.
All right, what's your go-to gas station snack?
This isn't very rapid fire of me, is it? Gummy bears.
All right, what's your favorite drink?
Water.
Water. That's a good answer. All right, now we can kind of wrap it up. So, what does your schedule kind of look like for the rest of the summer?
I go to Morgan, Utah to RMPRA this weekend. I took next weekend off to go hang out with some family, and then I go to Tabiona over the 4th of July. I'm not really quite sure what's after that week. I'm doing a bullfighting school in the same lines as the Joe Frost bull riding school. So I'm going to be doing a bullfighting clinic up there. That puts me about halfway through July, so I'm not quite sure after that. I ain't looked at my calendar for a couple days, but I'll be right around home.
What advice would you give someone that wants to get started bullfighting?
Man, go around people that want you to do good, and that want you to do good even when you start doing good. There's certain people that want you to do good until you start kind of catching some stride, and then they might leave you alone because they maybe they don't like your success or anything like that. You just got to be around people that genuinely want you to do good for you and for them. It's hard to I think it would be hard to be around people that don't want you to win, because I don't have that. Everybody that I'm around, and my family, my friends, you guys, everybody that I'm around wants me to succeed, and just like we do for each other, all of us that run together around here, we all want to succeed. So find that group of people wherever it may be, and try to hang on to them.
Yeah.
Where can people follow you, like Instagram or where?
At Hootchy Brewer on Instagram. You might need to type that out for him. Maybe stick it in there. It's kind of a name, but at Hootchy Brewer on Instagram, Facebook. I do have a TikTok, but I only post on there like every 6 months if I get some cool videos.
Yeah. All
And that's
right.
about it. I got a question for you guys.
All right.
Where do you go next?
Oh, I don't even know.
No?
Probably Silver State in Winnemucca, Nevada.
Yeah.
How about you?
I might go to Silver State. I don't know though. So
Gotcha.
either that or some random rodeo. I don't know.
You guys feeling good, ready to win?
Oh yeah.
Love it.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on it. So
Yeah.
all right, well, everyone, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe, and make sure to comment. Go subscribe to the CTS podcast, and yeah.
See you later.